Hi, this is Anand from Geekstick. This is to give some overview of Ansible, like what is Ansible, why we use it. Hi, now we are going to start with Ansible. In the past, in DevOps series, we have seen how to use Jenkins, Git. Likewise, now we are going to see Ansible. First, what is Ansible? The Ansible is a category of the fictional device that it will communicate across anywhere and everywhere, independent of the whatever the hurdles or distance came across. You know, it will communicate in a lightning speed. It communicates faster than the light. That is the beauty. It's a fictional device. Now, because in case of information technology, why that communication is so important and why it's so imperative. The actual information, information is something new, right? That's why it's called news. That's the information. For example, daily I'm telling, okay, sun is rising in the east. There is no value in that message. The entropy is zero. So how, for example, today I'm telling, no, today sun is rising in the west. That's the news. Everyone, it's like I'm going against null hypothesis. So likewise, where there is an entropy is more, we need to communicate. So there can be lots of hurdles and the impedance would be there. We need to get through all the barriers. That's why it's named Ansible. Ansible is an open source automation tool. It is an IT automation engine that automates the cloud provisioning, configuration management, application development, deployment, and inter-service orchestration. Here, in this subsequent videos, what we are going to see is how we are going to provision configuration management. For me, provisioning and application deployment is one and same to me. Maybe that's what how I interpret it like that one. And orchestration. Orchestration is from one place, like how the music director orchestrates the multiple devices, right? Likewise, here from one place, that master engine, I will orchestrate across multiple hosts or multiple nodes. One node will do only database, another node will do only web service, another node will do only data processing, another node will do only OLAP, another node will do only OLTP, the another node will take load balancing. So all the machine I will orchestrate at one place. So that is the beauty of this Ansible. Now let us get into the architectural overview. Yeah, we have seen the overview of Ansible. Now we are going to focus on configuration management, deployment, and orchestration. So how we are going to do that? The deployment, in the sense, after we build, we need to place that server in some exposable host, right? That host needs to be out of firewall. From there the public can access it. And orchestration, in the sense, from the one machine, I need to control the multiple hosts. The one host maybe do only web service, another machine will do only APIs, the another machine will do only the OLAP, another machine may do only OLTP. OLAP in the sense, online article processing, online transaction processing, like an Oracle or in something like an Informatica or Vertica or Netezza, something, it will do like that. So based on that, the responsibility, we need to control each and every machine properly. That's an orchestration. You see, for that, each and every time, I cannot rely on someone, just one machine. For example, anything, if I'm going to do only one time, one job only one time, no need of automation. In fact, that's the reason. Let's see that how we are going to do it over here. The purpose of this Ansible to have control on all the machines. One click, coherently, the action will be taken place across all the hosts, which is have a handshake, already having established handshake with this controller machine. For example, the controller machine here, if you see, this is the controller machine. I hope you could see my cursor. From this controller machine, the host 1, 2, 3, everything is connected to by the RSA key. That is how it needs to be established. Initially, they said it is meant only for the Linux and Unix system. Later, it's evolved to the Windows also. We will see it in the next slide. To have the control first, we need to establish the trusted SSH key relationship between the Unix and Linux or Linux server. As I'm working on Linux all the time, I will talk only about Linux. Initially, in the past, I worked on Unix too, the HP Unix, sometime on Sun Solaris, but it's no more, I think. Initially, it isn't. Later, it's evolved to Windows. In the Windows, to establish a connection, we need to have this WinRM. WinRM needs to be installed in that machine. Then only we can have the proper handshake with the Windows machine, Windows host. We are using it very successfully across the Windows, and we are doing multiple operations. Now we don't, when it comes to a control machine, that's it. There will be no more difference between Linux or Windows or Unix. Everything is one and same. As long as connection is established, we are good enough to go on. We need to, when we are talking about Ansible, there are multiple tools are available, like an Ansible. Here you see, here I mentioned the Chef, Chef, Salt Slack, Puppet. So many tools are available, but rest of the tools are using the pull-based mechanism, and Ansible is push-based mechanism. For example, one architect, he is constructing a building. In multiple sites, the project is going on. In multiple sites, the construction is going on. For every construction to every masoner and carpenter, everyone he cannot give individually. He cannot give an instruction. So he will employ some agent. That agent is nothing but a supervisor. In every building, there will be a supervisor. So chief architect will communicate in terms of blueprint. In terms of blueprint, he will communicate to supervisor. Supervisor is also an engineer only, a well certified engineer. Supervisor. That supervisor, he will give it to sub supervisor. For every store, multiple store, there will be one sub supervisor will be there. He will give. But the problem is when the message, like we told, Ansible is fast, lightning fast information exchange. When the information is going across the multiple layers, there are some chances of that message is getting skewed. So, because it's a pull-based, the rest of like Chef, Stallstack and Puppet is a pull-based mechanism, right? So there needs to be an agent to implement what you think you need to implement in that client side. There needs to be an agent. But in case of Ansible, there is no need of agent. That's why it's called agentless, push-based mechanism. All the architect needs to do, think right, give a right instruction. That's it. Then everything will be taken care in place and properly and coherently across the multiple hosts or the multiple sites. Everything will be. You see, you can, for example, to make it more convenient, you can employ 1,000 people. For example, 1,000 hosts, I'm doing something. I can give that instruction to all. But how you sure that everyone do at the same style and in the same way you expect and the same way it has been implemented in the other host, right? Though we are running script and provide, there might be some chances there will be something will slip. So manually we need to sneak in to the particular place. From there we need to end up in some patching. So the end result may not be appropriately same. It will not be exactly same. It will not be appropriate enough, that end result. So when we are going for the proper push-based mechanism, that all that hurdles will be simply it will be taken care, and we can pass through every hurdles and obstacles. The benefits of this is we are communicating all the machine in no time. In fact, everything will be in our control. It's a Python-based language, and the programming is also don't need and very tremendous skill. All we need to be comfortable enough to go through that Ansible help. First, we need to have a good imagination and idea what we want. Okay, no help can provide. What if you do like this, how it will be better. No help can provide. We only have to come up with that right imagination. All we need to focus on. I don't want to do it again. So don't do any hard work. If someone say you are working hard, it's a backhand compliment. Don't attend that. Try to learn something. Evolve with the trending technology. Do it faster. Do it flawless approach. Using a flawless approach, do it once. If you do that, do not repeat it again. Like that, do have more break time. Enjoy. Go around, see the places. Again, when you get a chance, again learn something new, and try to incrementally, learn and incrementally try to apply your patches, so that it will be much, easier. Our life will be much easier. That is the purpose of this technology, right? And YAML is also not very, very tough language. It is just all you need to put it in a proper pattern. What is YAML? At the beginning of the script, install Ansible playbook, install Ansible tower, install Ansible. I'm going to use CLI only. I'm not going for the tower. Then at the beginning of the YAML, if you put 3 dots, it will become YAML. Then interpreter will treat it as an YAML. The Ansible playbook can understand. So in subsequent examples, we will see how we are going to use it. I mean, our learning is going to be very primitive. Just let's enjoy the benefits of Ansible. Then, there is no rocket science. It is very, very simple. All these technologies and tools are to make our life easier. In the coming videos, we'll go into the example. Thank you.